And good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to the December 26th, 22nd edition of Makers and Movers podcast. Ooh, and I know what today is. Today's my daughter's birthday, so I should definitely remember that it's the 22nd, not the 26th. Welcome all, welcome all, welcome all. Did you have a great weekend? We're going to talk about ours because it was wild. Um, but it's your first time here, long time here, and know who you are, where you're from, what's in your cup, and what the weather is like in your area. I also need your 5 things. What are 5 things that you are going to accomplish today? First, we've got a lot. We've got orders from the weekend that need to get done. We've got artwork that needs to get approved. DTF that needs to go out. That seems to be the things. Well, one store to put up and one store to start working on. So those are our 5 for you. Interesting to hear what yours is because this is a wild week, right? I know a lot of people that they're not working. They're done. Last Friday was their last day, and they won't be back until the 5th. For us, we'll still be here. Customer service side of things or TRW on Wednesday at noon. They'll be out, won't be back to the following Monday, and the same thing next week. So keep that in mind. Make sure to post it. Make sure that people know about it. We'll still be shipping out orders, when available that time. And then show wise, we should have a show Christmas Eve and then, which is Wednesday morning, and then a show Friday morning. Normal schedule next week. Still working on topical things for it because, hey, it's kind of laid back the next 2 times. So, what are you guys working on here this next 2 weeks? Are you getting things in order? Are you done? I'm interested to hear what your next 2 weeks is like. So let's check in and see how we're doing with people. Gabriella, good morning to you, or good afternoon. Diet Pepsi in the cup, doing a 5D diamond painting the ocean. Love it, love it, love it. Linda, hello to you. Oh, Jeff checking in. Morning, Linda. Linda's got 59 there on the way to 78 in Texas. Man, Christmas is just different, in other places of the country. Like, I wouldn't know what to do. What are we sitting at today? I think it's supposed to be somewhat decent out today, but I'm not 100% sure because it's cold. It's December and it's cold, and that's just what it is. Yeah, it's 36 right now. Feels like 28. So we've got that going for us. Keith, good morning to you from the sunny Space Coast there in Florida. Blueberry coffee in the cup. Keith, I've got stuff into tech team this morning, dev team this morning, and e-commerce. So hopefully we're able to figure that out. What am I talking about? We got something weird going on the site. If you select the monthly subscription, the payment option goes away. Not sure why. Everything is working in the back end. I refreshed everything this morning, and I had it not happen on one computer, and I had it happen on another one. So I'm not 100% sure what's going on. So hoping we'll hear something back here this morning to figure out what the hell that's going on because it's not one thing, it's another. One thing, it's another. Hey, Jeff from Linda. Glad the code is working. In which code? Did I miss a code? What code? Especially when they're not running a sale. What are you getting? What are you getting there? Oh, Linda you were this way. Now you're this way. Is that right? You're here for it. Welcome to the correct format, Linda. Tim, Tim. That was a rough one yesterday, man. That was a rough one. I thought you were going to have a little Bears magic, but at the same time, I was hoping you didn't have a little Bears magic because that game on Saturday was magical. That was we have a running joke. Usually, Renee, I will watch football together, and she had things going on Saturday night, and I said it doesn't matter. We don't start watching the game until 3 minutes left, and lo and behold, what happened once again? The Iceman cometh, and he taketh away. What a great game! What a great game! What a great game! A weekend of football. So yeah, now we're going through everything and getting it rocking and rolling, and it was a good day. I I finally started Christmas shopping yesterday. Right, so I totally threw me off to go into a mall because I haven't been into a mall, to like shop in I don't know at least a year. And I'm in a store and standing there in line. Next thing I hear, and the mall's bustling. We went to the one in Iowa City. The mall was bustling, and standing in line, and I'm like, oh, their gate looks a little weird. And next thing I know, I hear over the loud thing, the mall is now closed. I'm like 7 o'clock on a Sunday. I forget. I remember Like when we were in the mall that the week of Christmas, the mall was open till 10 o'clock. So it was weird to see the mall packed and then telling people they're closed. And as we're trying to get out, we parked in an anchor store, so we couldn't get out through there. So we had to find a different way out. It was wild just to be like, this mall is still jam packed, and they're telling people, go home, go home. Man, 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 man. I don't know about that. I'm I'm right there with you, Keith. I need it to be working right here. And so that's that fix that I said, just go ahead and buy. We still got you on that other list. You'll be fine with it, and we'll get you there. Hey, Tim from Linda. Morning, Tim from Jeff. I'm working as usual. I still have non Christmas stuff. Well, that's very nice. Trying to catch up with the school is all. There's a lot going on with it, right? Dominic, hello to you. Right, Linda? Go Bears. It was a great game. Wrestling, good morning. Delivered my kid to dad in Tennessee yesterday, so I'm tired today. I bet. How long of a drive is that for you to get over there? Elizabeth, Beth, good morning. Northern Nebraska. It's 37, highs in the 60s, water mug. Very nice. Barb, good morning. North Central Minnesota. Where it is 16 cloudy, water in the cup. Set up new laptop, analyze change list for 26, finish Christmas gifts, shop closed until the 5th. I know a lot of people that do that. Ooh, there's another code for 3D filament. Is it there? Send it. Ooh, right there. ID Max, 5% off. I will take it because I think we need to get some more for it. Hi, Jeff, Tim, and Linda from Barb. And morning, Barb, back from Jeff. I made most of my gifts this year. I have not. I will purchase everything and be gift carded up. That's there. Diet, Diet Pepsi. Yeah, we saw the Diet Pepsi in the cup. 8 hours to Memphis. Ooh, that's one way. Rough. So they had 16 hours of drive time. Wowza. 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 All right. So what do you say we get into it? Because right now, there's these moments that really do hit a lot of makers around this time of year. And it usually comes out of nowhere. One day you're just running nonstop. Your inbox won't shut up, your phone won't stop ringing. Every part of your brain is just like locked in production mode. And then suddenly it stops, right? Motor slow down, message is quiet, urgency fades, and instead of relief, what shows up is this kind of like weird mix of exhaustion, restlessness, and kind of an emotional fog that makes you think, why do I feel like this right now? And that answer, that's what I call the hot press hangover. It's that emotional and mental crash that seems to happen after weeks of adrenaline, decision making and pressure has finally let go. Your brain, your body, they've both been running hot for so long that when things slow down, it feels a little uncomfortable instead of calming. And a lot of people don't talk about this part because it doesn't look like success or hustle, but it is one of the most universal experiences after a busy season. And so today, we're gonna talk about, what that crash actually is, why it happens, and then how to move through it without spiraling into guilt or panic or weird unnecessary decisions. Because nothing is wrong with you if this season ends and you don't feel, instantly proud or motivated. Their action, it makes sense. And understanding, what it is how you land the year gently instead of just, face planting emotionally. So, number one, the emotional crash is just a nervous system response, not burnout. After weeks of this sustained pressure, your nervous system just doesn't boom switch back to calm. You've been operating in urgency mode, responding quickly, solving problems constantly, and really staying alert for that next thing that could go wrong. It's fueled by adrenaline, and adrenaline is not meant to run forever. When demand drops, your body finally feels like, the absence of that fuel, and that drop, can feel a little unsettling instead of relaxing. And oftentimes that crash will get, misinterpreted as being burnout or loss of passion for what you're doing. And you start questioning, the business, start questioning your motivation and questioning whether you even want to do this anymore. And in almost every case, that conclusion is super premature. What you're just feeling is just decompression. You're not dissatisfaction. Your system is just recalibrating after being stretched for so long. And that recalibration, it can feel emotional and foggy or even flat. Now, understanding this distinction matters because it keeps you from, making big emotional decisions during this temporary low. That hangover phase, it passes when you allow your body just to come down naturally instead of trying to force yourself back into productivity or self-judgment. So, some examples of this is a decorator finished their final orders. When they're done, they suddenly felt unmotivated and emotional, even though the season went well, and they just assumed that they were burnt out. They weren't. Another one wakes up after shipping or last shipping days passed, feeling anxious and unsettled. Like, what do I do now? Not realizing that her nervous system is just coming down from all those weeks of pressure. So for this, when the crash hits, you just got to tell yourself, this is just decompression. It's not failure. That's it. It's just time to relax. That's it. That's all we got to do. So number two, silence after the rush, it can feel wrong, even when it isn't. One of the hardest parts of the hot press hangover is the sudden quiet. Right? For weeks, noise meant progress, notifications, messages, order confirmations, questions, emails, deadlines. When that noise disappears, your brain doesn't, immediately just trust the silence. Instead, it just starts scanning for problems that may not even exist. You know, si- Silence can feel like something's broken or something's missing. Even when it's just simply the natural end of a busy season. And a lot of makers will, mistake the quiet, for loss of momentum or loss of relevancy. Especially if they're used to, just constant activity day in and day out. And so the truth is that silence, it's just part of the business cycle, not a warning sign that something went wrong. So learning to tolerate without panicking, that really is, a skill that allows you to rest with, out creating these imaginary emergencies. And it does help uh, separate, actual business signals from emotional aftershocks of a busy season. So some examples of this is a maker refreshes their email all day after Christmas, feeling anxious because no new orders are coming in immediately. They feel like everything's got quiet. What happened? Another one just assumes that sales are drying up because her phone isn't buzzing anymore. It's part of it. So action step for this is let's just write down this reminder and keep it visible. Quiet is part of the cycle, not a problem to fix. All right. Now, number three is you do not need to plan while you're exhausted. After the rush ends, there's often pressure, right? Both internally and externally to immediately figure out what's next. New goals, new offers, new plans for January, really do start creeping to your head before you've even had a chance to rest. And the problem is that decisions made while you're exhausted, what do those tend to be? Those tend to be reactive and crazy ambitious and rooted in guilt instead of clarity. You know, rest rest is not wasted time. It's the phase that you need. It's the phase where your brain processes what just happened and it integrates the lessons that you've learned. When you skip recovery and jump straight into planning, you really do rob yourself of perspective. And you don't need to know, what's next right now. You just need space for your system to reset is all. Giving yourself permission just to pause doesn't mean you're falling behind. It just means that you're protecting the quality of of the decisions that you'll make later. So, some examples of this is, even though we're going to be talking about this in the next 2 weeks about, setting goals and things for the upcoming year, you want to make sure that you don't feel guilty for not wanting to plan for January right now, right after everything's done, right? Sometimes, owners jump to new ideas too fast and ends up feeling overwhelmed and excited, overwhelmed instead of excited. We don't want that. So, all we need to do is just commit to, a short no decisions window. Even if it's 72 hours, where planning is off the table. So like this week, hey, between now, Friday, not planning. We're going to do that next week. All right. Not going to do it. We're going to do it next week. So before we move on to 4 and 5, let's see what we got here. Let's see. I'll be taking a nap. You deserve a nap today, Rosaline. Uh, Morning, Barb. I like that you make gifts. I try every year and I run out of time. Beth, I think we're all there. We get a few extra days because with our older kids, Christmas isn't until next Sunday, so we'll get some stuff going, and yeah, we'll see what happens right there for it. I'm sad, but it's life of North football. Trying to get a couple keychain lanyards done before my appointment gets here. Forgot to make more and have 3 tent jobs today. Need to get them made. Very nice, Tim. Beth, the grandkids get so much stuff, but all my stuff have the kids donate gifts to those in need. Very nice. Christmas is mainly family focused, spending time together. Love it, love it, love it. Oh, so getting the cold cutter up and running, press on printed, and own embroidery. So much to do at once. Tim's hustling out there. Oh, I turned my first. Wait, I turned my first I need shirt made before Christmas today. I turned down. Told a friend I'm not doing forgetting things before Christmas. Very good. Right there. That's or Barb said, good for you, Tim. It's good to say no. Absolutely. No, we've said no on a few things. We've had a few things where people are like, we need this. We're like, we're not capable of doing that with what we have going on. And we're not gonna let the quality or the more importantly, our sanity, go crazy because of this. All right. Number 4, you know, emotional whiplash, that is normal after, sustained output because it is common to feel multiple conflicting emotions after the season ends. Pride, relief, sadness, irritation, gratitude, and emptiness. Those can all exist at the exact same time. That emotional whiplash, it can feel confusing, especially if you especially if how's the best way to put this? If you're expected to feel happy, and all these other things are going on, this emotion, you're gonna feel off, right? These mixed emotions don't mean that you're ungrateful or dramatic. They mean that you carried a lot, and when the load drops, your emotions they all catch up at once, right? And judging those feelings, that really, tends to intensify them, and when we're going through this, when we can allow them to just happen, it usually lets you move through them more smoothly. The goal it's not isn't to feel amazing right away. The goal is just to not turn emotional processing into a story about something being wrong with your business, or worse yet, something being wrong with you. So, some examples of this is a maker finished strong but feels, unexpectedly tearful and can't explain why. Another business owner feels disconnected from her work for a few days and worries that she's lost her passion. So, action step for this is when emotions spike, just say, "Hey, this makes sense." For what I just did. No fixing required on that. And number 5, you know, intentionally shift from output mode to recovery mode. You've been in output mode for weeks, if not months, producing, responding, fixing, delivering, and constantly making decisions. That mode, it just doesn't turn off automatically. And if you don't intentionally shift into recovery mode, your body stays stuck in high alert, which makes the hangover feel worse and makes it last longer. Recovery mode is going to look different for everyone, but it always involves, fewer expectations and a slower pace. This is just maintenance. It's not laziness. Businesses that last are built by people who know how to downshift as they intentionally ramp up. So, choosing recovery really does protect your long-term relationship with your business. And it really helps you come back grounded instead of resentful or not really caring about the business. So, examples of this, is a maker lowers their daily expectations during the last 2 weeks of the year. It just makes you feel calmer instead of restless. Another one avoids checking their inbox first thing in the morning and just helps let her nervous system settle a little. So, for this one, we just need to choose one way that you'll intentionally slow place this week and commit to it. For us, we're not sure if we're doing shows, on what the shows are going to be on Wednesday and Friday. We know that our courier service is closed on uh, Wednesday on Christmas Eve. So we're not sure, are we going to stay a little later on Tuesday to get everything out that we can because Wednesday they're not there? We're going to drop things off this week. Not too worried about it. What goes out goes out. We'll do our best to stick on track with anything. We know holidays are coming, and then Friday we know that there's probably going to be a lot of crickets because people have a lot of stuff going on. That's what it is. So we're just going to go in through it and see what we can figure out, and what needs to be done from there. So this is what we have for you today. Any questions? Ooh, I hit the wrong button. Questions, comments, concerns. Let me bring this back up here for it. The hot press hangover, it doesn't mean that you did something wrong. It just means that you showed up, you carried pressure, and now your buddy and your body are both asking for care. The crash, it's going to be normal. Silence, is not a warning sign. You don't need to plan while you're tired, and you don't need to judge, your emotions for showing up. Just honor the recovery phase, and you'll start, the next season steadier and clearer, and most of all, stronger. So just let yourself land, enjoy it. You know why? Because you earned it. You had a hell of a year. Get in there after it. All right. What else we have in there for it? Any other questions, comments, concerns that we have going on there for it? Yep, I agree. End of year and prepping for rebirth in the new year. Lots of emotion. There's so much going on with so many different things because like even for us, we've still have, as we're slowly, sunsetting the retail side of things, at least in the production side, we're trying to ramp the retail side on the TRW side. We're still looking for a building. We're still looking for avenues to pursue on that. We're still looking at what we need to do to bring, the transfers online. There's a lot more on that. And so like this week, just kind of relaxing. We're getting stuff done. There's nothing super pressing that needs to get done. There's one job that needs to be finished by the end of the year. There's a couple other ones where it's just artwork and stuff for next month. So we're just taking a breath, relaxing, doing what we can do to just enjoy what we work so hard for. Because that's the other hard thing, is you want to I'm trying to find my other tab here. Where did it go? There it is. You want to continuously do what you're doing, but man, you really do just need to take a break once in a while and just all right. That's when we gotta, and that's all. That's what we're gonna do. So next show, Wednesday, what are we gonna do? This is we're gonna kind of look back on, lessons learned, and we don't want it to be like a goal setting thing, but just what we have going on with it. There's a very specific headspace that shows up for people, this time of year. We're right there a couple days before Christmas. You know, done. Things are done. Chaos is slowed, and you start just replaying everything that didn't go perfectly. So that's what we're gonna talk about on Wednesday. All right. Um, yeah. Let's see. For anything else going on, We do this every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, make sure to leave them below. Mentorship community, we'll start that call in about 32 minutes. I'm going to start invoicing to get that going because Mondays are wild like that. So until next time, everybody have a great day. Peace, love, press on.